who wants to go first? Mark?
I got lots of questions about impeachment. So first of all, can you
one at a time.
Go through the names of the people who are on the impeachment committee?
It is Jason Nemus, Ed Massey, Kim King, Suzanne Miles, Angie Hatton, Patty Mentor, and George Brown. And that's the exact makeup of the impeachment committee from last year when it was convened to look at a judicial petition that was filed, with the exception of Chairman Massey has replaced Chairman Petrie since they switched roles as chair of the Judiciary Committee.
Yeah. Well, hold on, I just got confused. I thought Nemus was the chairman.
Nemus is the chair. And we switched the chair in that just only because Jason is not chair of a standing committee right now, and it just with time crunch, thought he would have more time to commit to it.
How come it isn't like randomly drawn for the election?
We just talked to the minority about it, and they were fine doing that, and that's the way we did it last year. Was just talk to the minority and ask, for everybody to agree on the members.
Okay, and then how? So sorry. The other thing is, a lot of the Democrats have been arguing that you didn't necessarily have to do a committee like this; that you could have just sent it to the judiciary or something the rules and they could determine that. What was the reason for
I do think it is now clear why the House was in chaos the majority of the time the Democrats were in charge, because they don't even realize that the Committee on Committee actually assigns bills and not Rules Committee. And in the entire 11 years that I was in the minority, we never had a Committee on Committees meeting. So interesting. Probably not real transparent. But our legal counsel believes that, just as they believed last year when we got the judicial filing, that we do have to act on it. And so we're just following the process that we believe is prescribed for us.
Do you personally believe that Governor Beshear should be impeached?
First of all, I haven't read all the way through it, but secondly, I'm going to preside over this. And so I'm not going to weigh in on that. I will let the committee decide what they believe is appropriate.
Okay, and then I know that there has been talk among some of the members in your caucus. There was talk about them filing articles of impeachment. By creating this impeachment committee, does that avoid the kind of very complicated political dynamics of having sitting representatives try and impeach the government?
Well, I don't believe it would prohibit them from filing something, but I have not talked to them about that, so I don't know.
Sorry, I kind of don't.
Anybody else got a question?
Since you're going to be presiding over it, do any of the other members of leadership feel comfortable talking about the merits of the impeachment?
Look, I think that it's important to understand that the entire body will be, could in fact be placed in the position of being the jury, and I think it would be inappropriate for anybody on either side to comment prior to hearing the facts that are presented. If the committee presents a report that it's not worth, or that they don't want to pursue anything, then that will be their choice. If they present findings that they believe need to be discussed, then we will hear those at the time. But the entire body will ultimately, if the committee decides, the entire body would be responsible for voting.
When's the first committee meeting?
You'll have to ask Chairman Nemus about that.
What went into the decision to put the people that you put on that committee? Was there a reason why you chose Jason Nemus as the chair or any of the other individual members?
It was literally the committee that we had in place last year. Chairman Massey is really involved in a couple of very, very significant pieces of legislation that are occupying a large portion of his time. Chairman Nemus does not have a standing committee to chair, so he seemed to be the logical one.
But I talked to one of the guys who filed the petition. Now that the Liberty crowd is aware of this process, you're going to be seeing a lot more petitions calling for people's impeachment. Are you worried about kind of how this process could start bogging down House of Representatives
bills?
No, I'm really not. If they're properly executed, we will deal with them in a similar manner. We'll deal with them how we were prescribed by law and by the Constitution to proceed.
Talking to people about how this went down in the past, a lot of people said that they would just go to the committee and then action would never really be taken. Do you see that happening here, or do you see a need to go further?
Again, I think I answered that once already, Mark, but you know, given the fact that the people that were saying that didn't even realize which committee assigned those things, I'm going to guess that they didn't take them with any degree of consequence. We take our job a little more responsibly than that, and we do what we believe is prescribed by law and the Constitution.
Forgive me for asking a question that's already been asked before. I sincerely apologize.
Quite all right.
But do you personally believe that Governor Andy Beshear should be impeached no matter what?
I,
Mark, he's already answered that.
I have already answered that, and
Any
again.
other questions?
I want to talk about the budget. You know, obviously you moved on all the bills today, but there was one bill, the small business relief bill, that was at least put on for a vote in the committee, but was not actually voted on. But do you feel like that bill should have been voted on in committee and voted on the floor today?
You know, I'm not familiar with. I haven't talked to the chairman this afternoon to find out why that bill was not moved. I don't know. I really don't know the reason. I assume it's because they just didn't have work completed on it yet.
Do you feel like they should move on that bill?
Joe, again, I don't know why they didn't move on it. So it's a bill that I believe will get very, very serious consideration. So I don't really know. I know that we've got some meetings tomorrow to discuss some issues on that bill. I don't know if that's why that was not heard or not.
Well, how do you feel about the merits of that bill?
I believe that small business relief is something that we have to take up during this session. I think that we need to be very thoughtful as to how we take that up.
When you were talking about this on Saturday, you said that this has happened 4 times and only one has been impeached, but no governor's ever been impeached. What were you referring to historically?
I'm sorry, Daniel.
You're talking about the history of it. You mentioned that one person, there were 2 only charges brought against one person. Who was that one person?
It was the treasurer, Honest Dictate, was his name, and was impeached for and convicted for stealing money from the state. Actually, stealing money from the state. There were a couple others that did get through the House, but they resigned before it was ever adjudicated in the Senate.
So that was the other 3. Was they, has it ever been a governor, or was it all
No.
other constitutions?
Never has. There was I believe 2 statewide officials, if I'm not mistaken, a treasurer, a commissioner of agriculture, and then 2 local officials.
Very impressive history.
It's very unusual. Trust me, this is why we feel like it's important to follow the process, and why we feel like the process is dictated. We've done a lot of research into the history of this, and
What do you expect to happen? I know the budget bills were moved for today in the House. What do you expect to happen Tuesday and Wednesday as far as legislative action goes? I'm not conference committees are going to be at some point this week to hammer out the actual budget itself, but how do you expect the next couple of days to go?
I think there will be limited floor action in the House tomorrow, especially. The Senate will be taking up the budget bill tomorrow and Wednesday, and get it back to us so we can not concur and get it into conference.
Do you anticipate needing to meet in conference committee? Do you anticipate all of this being wrapped up by Wednesday, or do you anticipate possibly needing another day or 2?
We will wrap up our work, official work, this week. The conference committee will probably meet periodically for the next 3 weeks during the break.
You all passed 6 of the priority bills, 4 still kind of waiting. Do you think those won't be passed before the break?
I do not anticipate us passing any more House bills through the entire process prior to us leaving Wednesday.
Yeah, and then obviously Governor Beshear will have 10 days to veto, and we're kind of operating on the assumption that he will veto these bills since he said it. But do you guys expect to come in right after that time expires to override him, or are you going to wait until later?
No, I think that we will. I think we're going to spend the majority of our time during this interim working on the budget, and we'll come back in and hopefully deal with that quickly and swiftly, and a lot of other issues when we come back.
I guess just for clarity's sake, as far as the budget's concerned, are you going to have a budget passed and sent to the governor by Wednesday, or do you anticipate working it?
No, as I've said all along, this is a process to get the budget into conference, and the Senate will essentially pass a continuation budget as well. It will have some slight changes just so we can not concur with those changes, which is the process for, again, getting it into conference committee. But it will not be ready to send to the governor anytime prior to us coming back to in February.
One of the things that just came out, I guess, in the governor's press conference is that Dr. Stack's house was vandalized and COVID-19 was a hoax. Do you have any kind of comments about that type of action?
I'm sorry, I heard Dr. Stack and COVID is a hoax, but I didn't hear
His house-
the conclusion you were drawing out of that.
House was vandalized. People were writing COVID is.
Well, that's unconscionable. Dr. Stack's a fine man. He's a bright man. He's done a great job during this pandemic. I can't imagine that anybody at this point still believes that it's a hoax. But I hope they find him and prosecute him to the fullest extent of the law.
I saw that there have been FBI warnings to all 50 states, specifically state capitals, that there might be incidents, where protesters might come to the Capitol, almost similar to what happened at the U.S. Capitol, based on kind of anger over the presidential election sometime in the next week or two. Have you heard anything like that?
I've seen the same reports you have. I know that I put a great deal of confidence into our security folks, and I'm sure that they are on top of it.